DCA provides lifecycle management at scale across heterogeneous virtual and physical servers, databases, and middleware applications in the most diverse IT environments. DCA helps you automate patching, compliance audit, and closed-loop remediation, and provisioning of resources. DCA is deployed as Docker-based containers using Kubernetes technologies. To install DCA, you must first install a container management framework referred to as ITOM Container Deployment Foundation or ITOM CDF, and then install DCA from a user interface based on this framework. You can deploy ITOM CDF in 3 modes: on a single node, on a single master node and one or multiple worker nodes, and on multiple master nodes and one or multiple worker nodes. The installation procedure depends on the mode that you choose to deploy. In this video, we will deploy ITOM CDF on multiple master nodes. Multiple master nodes provide a failover mechanism to ensure high availability of ITOM CDF and the suites deployed on top of it. Therefore, we recommend a high availability deployment in a production environment. High availability deployments are supported on both on-premises and cloud environments. In this video, you will see how to configure the installation on the master node and how to configure the installation phases on the installation portal. That is, select the deployment configuration, download the container images, prepare the DCA deployment, and configure and deploy DCA. Before starting the installation, use the DCA documentation on the Micro Focus documentation portal to prepare your deployment environment. To install a multi-cluster, go to this directory and open the install properties file to configure the HA virtual IP parameter, which is mandatory for multiple masters in single subnet. Configure Docker HTTP proxy and Docker HTTPS proxy parameters if access to Docker Hub requires a proxy. For single master nodes deployments, you don't need to configure any parameters. To install mini-CDF, run the installation script with the DCA metadata. Type a password for the suite administrator and retype the password to confirm it. These messages indicate that the installation completed successfully. After configuring the installation on the masternode server, you must continue the installation of ITOM CDF and DCA from the installation portal. Copy the URL provided on the masternode server to a supported browser. Log on to the installation portal with the created suite administrator credentials, the username and password you set when running the install script for the installation configuration. On the summary page, select the DCA version you want to install from the drop-down list and click Next. The End User License Agreement screen appears. Select both the checkboxes to agree to the license agreement and privacy policy and click Next. Customize your suite deployment. Currently, the DCA Premium Edition and its available capabilities are configured by default. Click Next. Configure the DCA database. Currently, only the out-of-the-box Postgres option is available. Select the Postgres SQL High Availability checkbox if you need database HA. Click Next. For one masternode deployment, the default external hostname and port have been entered automatically. By default, the external hostname is the hostname of the first installed masternode. For multiple masternode deployments, enter a fully qualified domain name that is resolved to the virtual IP address of the external hostname. If the masternodes are in the same subnet, the external hostname you will enter must be resolved to the HA virtual IP defined in the install properties file. If the masternodes are in different subnets, the external hostname you will enter must be resolved to the load balancer host defined in the install properties file. Note that DCA Suite Portal runs only on port 443 and currently it is not configurable. You can choose the custom certificates for ingress by selecting the Use Custom Certificates checkbox. Choose this option when your certificates files are not in this format and select a CA certificate and a server certificate. Then select a key file and enter the private key password for the encrypted private key file. Click Next. For single masternode deployment, click Next. For multiple masternode deployment, select the checkbox for master high availability. Click this icon of the second master node and provide the hostname or IPv address of the master node, the username, and choose a verification mode, password or key-based. Then enter your password or upload a private key file. You can also specify the theme pool device path. This option is required for a production environment. You must have already set up 2 theme pools for all cluster nodes that need to use theme pools. Also, provide the Flannel iFace if you have multiple active network interfaces. Click Save. Repeat the same steps for the third master node. After installing all master nodes, you should enable high availability with Keep Alive service. Go to this directory of the first installed master node and run this command. You can check the status of the nodes by running this command. Now, go back to the installation portal and click Next. Now you have to configure the worker nodes. If you are deploying CDF on a single node, just select the checkbox. Adding more workers is not required. Click this button to add a worker node and provide the required information. Select a type. Currently only the standard option is available. Select this checkbox if you do not want your resource to be verified. We do not recommend skipping resource checking. Skipping resource checking may lead to installation failure. Type the hostname or IPv4 address of the worker node, the username and password, and click Save. The system will check the operation system of the worker node. To add more worker nodes, repeat the same steps. Click Next to continue the configuration. Now you have to configure the file storage. A list of NFS volumes required for CDF and DCA installation is displayed. If you are using the NFS shares from a previous install, ensure they are empty. Expand the DCA NFS volume drop-down list and configure the required fields. Select the file system type. Currently, only self-hosted NFS is supported. Type the NFS server, select the exported path, and click Validate. This message shows that the file system has been successfully validated. Repeat the same steps for the rest of the volumes. Click Next. Click Yes to confirm the select phase and start deploying master nodes and worker nodes. Note that after starting the deployment, you cannot go back to the select phase. Before you install DCA from the ITOM CDF installation portal, you must download the suite images from Docker Hub and then import the images to the local registry of the master node. Before you proceed, ensure that you have obtained a Docker Hub account from Micro Focus, which is required to download DCA images. On the Download Container Images page, click Next. Read the instructions under Offline Download and click Next. Ensure that the master node is connected to the Internet. If the master node cannot reach Docker Hub, or if you need a proxy to access the Internet, check the DCA documentation for details on how to download the script or how to set a proxy. Go to the scripts directory on the master node and run this command. Provide your Docker Hub credentials. The script starts the downloading process. The suite image files are available in this directory. When the script has finished the execution, the following message is displayed. Now, go back to the installation portal. Click Next. The Transfer Container page appears. Because the download of images was executed on the master node, no action is required. Click Next. Follow the instructions on the Import Suite Images page and go to this directory on the master node. Run this command to upload the suite images to a private registry. These messages indicate that the upload process is successful. On the installation portal, you can check the number of uploaded images. Click More to check the name of the remaining images to be uploaded. Click Check again to see the updated details of the uploaded images. Moving to the next step is possible only when all images are successfully uploaded. Then click Next to go to the Prepare page. Note that after you click Next, you cannot go back to the download phase. The Deployment of Infrastructure node page displays the master and worker nodes the installer is deploying. Wait until all the nodes are successfully installed and click Next. When a worker node fails to deploy, click Retry to deploy the worker node one more time. The Deployment of Infrastructure Services page lists the core foundation services the installer is deploying. Wait until all the services are successfully started and click Next. On the Preparation Complete page, click Next to complete the preparation. Note that after you click Next, you cannot go back to the Prepare phase. On the Selected Suite page, the DCA edition and version you selected to install are displayed. Click Next. The Prerequisites page appears. Ensure you meet the listed prerequisites and click Next. If you need to set a proxy to connect to the Internet, enter a proxy URL in the HTTP proxy details field and click Next. Optionally, you can enable and configure SMTP with the required details to receive email notifications about the important events in your data center. Click Next. Provide the DCA administrator user credentials. Ensure the password meets the specified requirements and that the user does not exist in IDM. Click Next. Specify the database user and password for DCA. Ensure that the user and password meet the specified requirements and click Next. Provide the OO administrator user credentials. Ensure the password meets the specified requirements and click Next. Type the password for UCMDB administrator. Ensure that the password meets the specified requirements and click Next. You can configure operating system provisioning by specifying the SA host and user credentials. This is an optional step. Disable the option if you do not want to integrate SA with DCA. Click Next. Choose either of the analytical data store types. Embedded Analytics Data Store is used for demo purposes. To select the external analytics data store, enable this option and specify the required information. For this demo, we will be using Embedded Analytics Data Store option. Click Next. Cloud Optimizer is an optional capability. If you want to configure Cloud Optimizer, provide the required information, else disable the option. Click Next. ChatOps is an optional capability. If you want to install ChatOps, enable the option and provide the required data. Click Next. Click Start to start the installation of DCA services. The installation will take a while. Wait until all the services are installed. Check the status of the installation at the top of the page. If the installation fails, a corresponding error message is displayed. Click here to launch the DCA UI. For more information about the installation, see the DCA documentation on the Micro Focus documentation portal.